Hi, my name is Sarah Pagels, and I'm interested in applying for the networking committee. I think what draws me to the networking committee the most is just the potential impact that it could have on people. I think that the power of networking is obviously really, really important, and it's something that we hear about a lot throughout FLA, but the networking committee is really who has the power to kind of bring the opportunities to network within FLA, whether that's with the alumni or with the other students. There's a lot of opportunity for other students to be able to meet each other and potentially make connections that way, whether it's friendships or more professional relationships, and also the opportunity to meet people that, maybe work at companies that you're interested in or people that are working in the industry you want to work in. And having those opportunities can be really, really powerful and can, really change someone's perspective on what they want to do in the future. And it just has a lot of impact that it can make on someone. And I think that being on the committee, you have the power to kind of steer where that goes and what direction the different alumni events and socials go in. And it can have a really big impact on not just the mentees, but also the mentors and everybody else that's involved in the organization. So I'm really interested in that, and I have personally done a lot of networking over the past couple months, and I've gotten my internship from it, and I'm hoping to start recruiting for next summer as well through networking and doing a lot of that. So I've seen the power of what networking can do, and even just like having, kind of more informational interviews and things like that, and hearing from people that are working at the companies that I'm looking to try and get internships or jobs with, and seeing how powerful that can be. I think that being able to bring that to the mentees can be a really, really powerful thing for them. And it's something that I would definitely love to be able to get more involved in. And I think that I'm really outgoing and I really love to meet new people and things like that. So I'd love to be able to connect some of the FLA alumni with the current mentees and be able to create some really meaningful connections for them in any way that I can. For the second question, the time when I worked on a highly effective team was probably this past spring. I'm a strategist at Ram& Company, and we work with our teams to provide consulting services to local small businesses. And I worked as a strategist, and I was responsible for originally creating a pitch deck for the startup that they would be able to use to get more funding and things like that. As this was a pretty early stage startup, they were kind of looking into what a pitch deck would need, what kind of components it have, since the founder wasn't really all that knowledgeable about what a pitch deck needs to have in it and how those kinds of things work. So that was my original work stream. But after kind of talking to the client a little bit more and realizing what her needs were, I actually also helped to create a business plan, and I collaborated a lot with one of my other teammates on this who was responsible for some more marketing stuff. But we realized that without a really solid business plan in place, it was going to be hard to, jump right into marketing and the pitch deck and all those types of things. So the two of us were able to collaborate really, really well kind of at the start to create a really comprehensive business plan that had a lot more details than the client originally thought it would need. So we were able to put that together for her. And then I also helped facilitate some more collaboration with our other team members who were working on the website for the startup and then some financial projections. And obviously the website or the pitch deck needs to have all of those different kinds of things, and it needs to talk about the finances and the marketing and even the website, and talking about how the development of that is going, and making sure that all of the branding is consistent and the website looks good, and making sure that it's all kind of wrapped up really nicely. And I was able to really be able to facilitate all of us working together, even though that's not traditionally how things are done. Usually we're all kind of like working on our separate little things, and we only come together at the very end for the presentation. But this semester it was a little different, just because there was so much collaboration between the different functions of our group. And I think that was a contribution that I made that really, really helped. And at the end, our client was really impressed with all of the work that we had done. And it definitely wasn't just me. My teammates really did so much and collaborated so much. But I think that just that kind of initial push of being like, hey, like we can, maybe kind of work on this all together instead of just all separately doing our own thing. I think that definitely contributed a lot to our success, and just having a lot of really open communication and kind of all strategizing together instead of individual, and just kind of thinking about how like the parts make up the whole. And it ended up being a really, really successful engagement, and the client was really happy with all of the work that we were able to put out at the end. For the third question and the different prioritization of the projects, I think that I would definitely try to knock out the one that's due tomorrow first, just because that one is probably the most urgent. Obviously, it needs to get done that following day. So I'd probably knock out that one. And then, depending on what the other two projects entail, I would look at how urgent they are. So, if it's even better to get them in a little earlier, the deadline doesn't always mean when you should get it in. That's kind of like the hard stopping point, but sometimes it's better to have things done a little bit earlier so that if other people need to collaborate on it, they can get their parts in and it can all run a little bit more smoothly. So I would kind of look at what the projects consist of. And if I need to reach out to people, then, obviously you need to reach out to them and give them enough time to reply and things like that. So I would kind of try and list out and break up the projects into like little mini projects and just making sure that I'm getting all of those done on time and making sure I'm prioritizing what needs to be prioritized. So what I like to do when I have, like, for example, a really big PowerPoint or presentation I need to work on, I'll break it up into what do I need to get done by tomorrow, or what do I need to get done by next week, and break it up into little mini things. So I would probably still do the one that's due next week first and make sure that that's all done, but also make sure that I'm not pushing anything till the very end or last minute or anything like that. So just kind of breaking them out into little smaller projects and making sure that I'm being consistent with when I'm working on them and being mindful of if other people need to collaborate on them or not. For the fourth question, I think I would probably go into those different friendships on the committee with the idea of separation of church and state. So just thinking about how, like, our friendship doesn't need to be all about the work that's done on the committee, and we could talk about other things. And then obviously when things do come up about the committee, I think that the best way to differentiate is to ask myself, is this person able to know this information? Were they there when it was discussed? So, for example, if it's something that was only discussed between the director and the assistant directors, and this person wasn't an assistant director and they were a mentee, then I would probably say to myself, maybe it's for the best if they don't know this information yet. Maybe we're still working on developing it and making sure that everything sounds right before going to them with that information, even if it is like as a friend. I also think, obviously, when in doubt, it's better to just ask the director. So if there's something that I'm not sure if I should be sharing, or if it should be kept confidential, I think it's best to just ask instead of me making a mistake and telling someone something that maybe they weren't supposed to know that could cause problems later down the line. So I definitely think just asking and being open and honest is the best way to kind of approach those different relationships. For question 5, if my teammate and I had different opinions on how to solve a problem, I would just be very direct and honest with them and just approach them and ask them, what their opinion and what their perspective on, and just try to listen to understand first and understand where they're coming from, because maybe we're just seeing the problem from two different perspectives, or, we're not on the same page about something or something like that, or we have different information, whatever the situation may be. I would definitely try and understand what their version of the problem is and why their solution is the best, and just kind of take a logical approach to it and see, maybe what things can we extract from their idea versus what things can we extract from my idea or whoever else's ideas, and see if maybe there's more of a compromise that can be met, or if there's a way we can kind of meet in the middle. And if not, I think it's important to just, be honest about it and foster a place where people can just be open about their ideas and kind of have an even playing field where everyone is able to bring their ideas forward and have everyone hear those out. And I think that that's definitely the first step, is just fostering that open environment so that everyone feels free to share their ideas. And if there is a conflict, then everyone's able to sit down and talk about it and discuss it and not take it personally, and just go through what might be the best and what can we maybe do at a later time or for a different circumstance, and just be really logical about it. For my work and involvement and all those things for next year, I have a part-time job, which usually I work like 10 to 12 hours every week, kind of depending, but it's usually always less than 15 hours for sure. I'm also still going to be a part of Rem Company, which is probably only 3 hours a week. And then I'm also going to be starting up a UF women's club ice hockey team. I'm not totally sure what that's going to look like yet, or if it's going to happen at all. But I don't think it'd be any more than 3 hours per week. So it's just going to be those three things.